5.
That was really quick.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, yeah. Was that a cat or a notification? I don't know.
Ring?
So yeah, Outcast people, if you hear me coughing, I do apologize. As you can probably guess from my voice, I'm not exactly in the best of shapes right now.
Yeah. The under the weather moon pier right now.
Yes.
So for anyone listening or watching, we're going to try and do as much as we can of the show. If Moonpier's voice gives out, then we're done. So, or at least try and get through the first segment like usual, and then we will play it by ear.
Okay, how do I leave this thing? No. What?
Good thing is we don't have anything interesting in releases or news stories this week, so not that interesting.
Yay, that's good.
What was I just gonna look at?
I have no idea. Why is my Wi-Fi not working?
Because the internet hates us all.
Well, yeah, the internet hates everything. That's kind of the whole nature of the internet.
Yeah.
Hidden network is secured, apparently.
Good, I guess.
I wish I knew who in my neighborhood had a Wi-Fi thing called Hidden Network.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why my Wi-Fi is not working, because my thing needs to update. Yay.
Hooray. Man, I wrote so many notes this week. I'm trying to get better at doing that. Trying to get better at writing notes while I'm playing stuff.
Yeah, I need to do that, to be honest, as well. We definitely should do it for the Isaac dailies, because it's like, I don't know, we had a lost run at some point.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the next step is.
But yeah, I definitely need to try and get better about that type of stuff for my actual games. But
well, part of my problem is like,
to be honest, this week I barely played anything. I didn't touch
stuff.
Wait, did I lose you at some point?
No, I'm still here.
You are muted for me. Why are you muted for me?
Muted for you. Looking good here.
There we go. Okay.
Ah, hi.
I accidentally tweaked my headphone volume.
Well, part of the reason why I'm trying to do it is like I'll finish a game, and then I'll come up here on Sunday and write down my list of games to play, and I'll be like, I loved that game, but why? Like, what specifically made me love it?
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, like it's these one or two moments in the game that I want to talk about, and then I forget about them. I forget about them 2 minutes after I've finished playing them, though, to be honest. And then 6 months down the line, it'll be like, oh, that moment was great. I need to talk about that.
Yeah.
That is a good reminder, though. What's that song? It's the Sexual Feeling song.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye?
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Sing it for me.
No. Almost got me.
It was worth a try.
Yeah. No, it's the, yeah, that's... Hold on. Let's look at Genius.com. My favorite lyrics site.
It's like, baby, I can't take it much longer.
I just typed in sexual healing. The top result is Lil Wayne's Pussy Money Weed. Second one is Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing.
Okay.
From his album Midnight Love.
Yeah,
oh wow, it won 2 Grammys.
Nice.
I don't know why I said wow like wow. Oh wow.
Because you've been listening to Waluigi too much.
Oh wow.
Okay, now I'm in the chat. That was a quick update. I'm kind of happy.
Okay.
So yeah, shall we talk about the quarantine procedures that have been put in place in this household over this week?
Yeah, because both you and your wife were sick with the flu, right?
Yep. So last Friday, she started showing really bad signs of it. Last Friday was also a public holiday, so she had it off work. Lucky. I did not. So she started showing signs for it on Friday. Getting worse and worse, and then I think it was Sunday. She was like, fever's going up. Gonna go to the doctor's tomorrow morning on Monday. See how things go. So she went to the doctor's on Monday morning. Doctor confirmed, yeah, just so you know, you have the flu.
Right.
Like, so here's a bunch of anti-flu medicine and something. I've never really had the truly bad flu. Like, I've had it once when I was very, very young, but I did not know it's a case of, just so you know, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Here's
you just have to sort of suffer it out.
Yeah, ride it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she got all these meds, and mother-in-law dropped off an air mattress here. So I was like, well, okay, I'll sleep on the couch on Sunday night. Slept on the air mattress on Monday and Tuesday just to try and keep us separated enough to the point where I wouldn't get it as well.
Yeah, and then like she would just sleep soundly by herself.
Exactly, especially when you got like the fever temperature spikes going on and like it's blankets on, blankets off kind of thing. So I'm in here on the air mattress and she's in there, and then by like Tuesday I'm starting to feel bad. Wednesday I'm starting to feel really bad.
You got like that throat thing and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, and then Thursday like my temperature's going up a little bit and I'm just like, really?
I swear to God.
Like if you go back and look on Twitter, I think it's like Tuesday I put the thing on Twitter, which was the Walking Dead, like very first episode, the don't open dead inside.
Yeah.
Like that's our house right now.
Right.
Because like we quarantined ourselves off from each other. But lo and behold, I still got the flu.
Yeah.
So then she started getting better from it on Wednesday as I started really hitting the bad side of it. So then we switched places, so she was on the air mattress and I was in the bed. And it was just like, okay, so this is atrocious now. I still went to work like Monday through Thursday. I mentioned to you pre-show. I walked into work on Thursday and said to my boss, just so you know, I ain't coming in tomorrow and I ain't coming in on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, Death 2K.
Hey. Like, had to put my foot down and just be like, no. You know.
I need to recover from this.
It's not happening. So I used Thursday night and Friday to basically get rid of my fever. So now I've just got the after effects of like the headachy, the cold, the throat, everything like that.
Yeah, a little bit of brain fog still.
Yeah, but it's just like this household has just been like a mess of like there's tissues everywhere and cold and flu medicine wrappers everywhere. It's just like great.
Jeez.
So now starts the laundry project of getting everything washed and cleaned and redone to make sure this doesn't happen immediately in like a week or something.
Man, that's the one nice thing about I think we talked about it recently, the washer and dryer set that we bought when we moved into this house, is I had to spring the extra money for like the sanitizing one.
Yeah.
Man, whenever we get sick or whenever like the baby has some sort of code brown blowout, just like, all right, you're going to be in there for 2.5 hours, but when you come back out, nothing is going to be on these things.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, but no, I've done half of the laundry now, so like all of my clothes are actually done. The stuff that was on the air mattress in here is done. Now I just need to go into the bedroom and actually do the bedroom stuff.
Crack the windows open.
Yeah, get a face mask on. That kind of situation.
That's always the best, when you start feeling better and like you crack the windows open and you're just like, oh, that's right, sunlight. Oh, well, I'm still human. It made me laugh
because like I wanted juice, like so I went down to the store and got some orange juice earlier today because we've got water and tea in the house. So it's just like I want something fruity, something kind of tasty that's not soda. So I went and got juice, and just walking down the street was just like, oh wow, this is what outside feels like again.
Nice to see you, Mr. Bird. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Oh, it was really weird.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think if anything good happened this week. My daughter is getting 4 teeth in all at the same time. The 2 top canines and then the 2 bottom canines are all coming at the same time. And those are bad. And I think she's going through another growth spurt. So it's...
Yay.
She's angry, she's tired, and she's starving.
Yep. Sounds about right.
She fell asleep on me yesterday, so we record Pup at 3 o'clock my time.
Yeah, it was a little late yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, she fell asleep on me at noon, and I was like, perfect. She sleeps for 2 hours at most, and I'll have an hour. I might be able to like take a shower and go to the bathroom before the show. This is gonna be great. I had to wake her up after 3 hours and 15 minutes of a nap, and she still didn't want to wake up. And I was just like, I gotta go, dude. Oh my god.
Although that did just remind me of the other thing that happened to me this week, which made me laugh as well. Which, yeah, for those who don't follow me on or are not in the Discord, my tooth snapped on Wednesday too.
Yeah, insult to injury.
Yep. So I can't get that scene too until I'm healed. So fun. Also, I would go on a 2-hour rant right now about the medical industry in the States, but I don't want to open that bucket of worms, so I'm not going to.
I think everyone watching and myself would just be like, yeah. Yep.
When you come from the country where I'm from, where it's like, hey, my tooth has snapped before, I walked into my dentist and got it seen to, like that. Yeah. For free.
Yep.
It's a whole different kettle of fish over here. So yeah, I'm not going to open that bucket.
Did you watch any good movies or TV or anything while you were sick, or was it just sort of like, hey, I put on a show I like and I'm ignoring it?
I didn't even get to do that, to be honest. I did watch Justice League, which I thought was a completely mediocre movie.
Yeah, I still keep meaning to watch that, and you, Musim, and I were talking about movies on Twitter, and I still need to watch
Logan. And Logan.
And Logan. See, the thing about Logan is I know I'm gonna like it because I like movies where characters are kind of falling apart. Like, I liked Leaving Las Vegas, even though it's not a really great movie. And now I want to see it even more because of Dan Reichert's quote-unquote review.
Yeah, that kind of made me laugh a little bit.
So let's talk about this review, because I just wanted to bring it up. Okay. Dan Reichert of Giant Bomb fame, his primary dislike of the movie, which I thought on the surface was interesting, is he's not sure why he should care about comic book movies, because if a character dies, they always find a way to come back.
And on the surface level, that's an okay point.
Sure, I think it's a salient point of, the stakes never seem that high for characters because either they're going to win or they're going to come back to life. But he then manages to dig the whole way deeper by just going too far with that, and then says, but I like Dragon Ball Z, so who the hell am I? It's like, yeah. Well, and I think the thing that's really interesting, number one, I think he didn't understand the X-Men movies, because it's like, well, Xavier died and then he's back and now he's younger. Like, I don't really understand. It's like, well, that I don't know how to break to you what prequels are, but that's fine.
Or time traveling stories, which is ironic considering how much he loves the Terminator series.
Right. But I feel like when you look at a lot of the stuff that both Marvel and DC...
Sorry, just loving Jeff in the chat with the great point.
Well, Justice League is the franchise falling apart. Oh, man. That's good. I am excited to watch it, because I know it will be entertaining on some level.
No.
At the very least, it will be... I can watch the guy who plays Aquaman without a shirt on.
Jason Momoa.
So that's a positive either way. But I feel like when you look at a lot of what DC and Marvel have put out, I feel like they really haven't gone to the characters coming back to life well that much. The original X-Men trilogy did with Jean Grey, but that's kind of what Jean Grey is all about.
Yeah, and also there's the whole fact that the whole thing with the X-Men 3 where she evaporates Professor Xavier, that's kind of stage one in the big things with the fists, the giant things.
Sentinels?
Them things coming in, which is what they actually went back and time travel fixed in Days of Future Past.
Right.
It's like, okay. So
yeah, it's this sort of weird thing where it's like, I feel like that's always been a criticism of comic books, and to see it extended to comic book movies where that really hasn't been a thing was sort of baffling, because it's a criticism of comics for a reason, that it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
But it will be important after Infinity War. Because, you know, they've been saying, like, a couple people, this might be their last movie. And I think everybody's saying, like, yeah, it's probably Captain America because that dude is sort of done making movies.
Yep. Chris Evans has been stating since probably Cap 2 that he is done.
Yeah. I'd like to stop doing this, please.
And then he changes his mind. Yeah. You've got two separate Captain Americas in the wings waiting to pick up from him, and that is Bucky and Falcon, who have both been Captain America in their own right. I think that the thing, you can't levy this whole people coming back from the dead thing in the movie situation, is because when people get killed in the movie situation, it's not going to be the same actor coming back. It's going to be a new actor or a new side of that person. They're not going to create a CG Chris Evans for, like, you know, Captain America 8 or whatever.
After Tron Legacy, I think they learned their lesson.
Yes. Despite, we'll talk about CG characters in a minute. But I think the thing that he missed out with that is he's also, when he talks about Logan, he's talking about basically casting aside a relationship that the audience has developed with these characters over like 6 movies
in like a decade. Yeah,
and that's kind of incredible.
Well, especially with him playing Wolverine, is he not only plays the character so well, but he looks so much like Wolverine. That's like when he got cast, it was like, yeah, okay, that's Wolverine. It's just like having. But
that was the funny thing for me is like when he got cast, he was like, okay, he looks like him, but this is Hugh Jackman, who is the singy dancy musical theater guy. What's he doing playing Wolverine?
That's true.
And then he knocks it out of the park, and now he goes and does Greatest Showman, and everybody's like, what's Wolverine doing in this singy dancy musical thing?
He's going full circle, dummies.
Yes, he is, and he is incredible in Greatest Showman. That is a movie I watched. I don't know if I watched it before last week's episode, but
I don't think so.
Oh, that movie is good.
Yeah.
If you can do the whole thing that you need to do in this day and age, which is disassociate P.T. Barnum as a human being from the subject of the movie.
Right.
If you can get rid of that and just enjoy it as a movie, then it's actually incredible. It's got some of my favorite songs I've ever heard in theater, and Zidania kind of steals the show.
Really?
Which I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen Homecoming?
No, not yet. I keep meaning to watch that.
Okay, because she's in that too, and it actually makes me laugh because during one of the dance scenes, she does the Spider-Man pose.
Oh, really?
And I'm curious if it was a nod.
What's that movie? What's Spider-Man? So what's so funny is, like, now that my my daughter is like imitating stuff on TV, I can't just watch something, so I have to start looking at ratings for stuff. And now I'm like looking at the Wikipedia page, being like, what is it rated? They don't really say what. Like, I have to care about movie ratings.
Go into IMDb. They have a really good parents section, which will tell you exactly what curse words, what things like that are used in it. Oh, really? I think I used to read it for fun. I don't know why.
Like the ESRB ones.
Yes. But I think Homecoming should be pretty good.
This is very PG-13. It is, yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, I need to watch that too. My daughter will probably ignore it, so that's probably
good. I did also watch Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, how was that?
I think it won an Oscar for the best cinematography.
I think so, yeah.
There is a reason for that. I don't think I've seen a better shot movie in so many years. Like, that movie has some incredible, like, I can't remember what they're called, but like the shot that sets up where you are.
Yeah.
And There is a really interesting one that involves a wall, which I'm not gonna. They give you no context for what this wall is, but it's really clear immediately what it is if you're just looking at what it's doing. But yeah, I really like that movie a lot.
Have you seen the original? I never have.
I've seen the original, and I've seen the final cut of the original, and I've seen the other cut of the original. I like the original. I think it's really well done storytelling. I'm not a super fan of it, but I do think it is of its time. It's right there with Alien and Aliens being like storytelling masterclasses in cinematography.
Right.
And I think Blade Runner does an absolutely fantastic job of not needing to exist in the 2049 version, but existing and doing a pretty good job of continuing a story in that world. I can't really say a whole bunch about it, but there is a CGI character in it, which is really, really weirdly dead-on perfect.
Oh, really?
Like, creepily accurate, like no uncanny valley kind of thing. Just how did you make this person exist in this world? Right. Like it shouldn't be. And then I looked into it, and it turns out the one section of the movie that this character's in, the special effects team worked for a year flat out on just this character. Jeez. So understandable how they got it so well instead of doing the whole other characters like Tron Legacy, whatever his face is.
The weird part about Tron Legacy is like, we watch that movie a lot because I really like it. I think it's really good CG, and I think it's a really good recreation of that dude. I just think that the way that in real life that his mouth animates, they replicated it for the CGI character, and it looks really weird.
Yes.
Like, it's a dead-on recreation of that dude, and it just looks weird.
I can't remember. It's not Goldblum. Is it Goldblum? No. Is it Jeff something? I can't remember that guy's name.
From Tron?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm gonna have to look it up. I had it in my mind when we were talking about it, and as soon as you asked the question, Jeff Bridges. There it is.
There we go. I knew it was a Jeff. Yeah, I think the problem is he's a weird dude. Like, and when you recreate him in CG, it looks weird because he looks weird. Yep. Like, he always kind of looks weird.
I still constrain it's a really good recreation of what that dude looks like. He's just a weird looking dude. His mouth, his real life human mouth, animates really weird.
Yes, it does. I think that movie's incredible. Like, I think Tron Legacy is.
I think it's great.
An incredible movie.
I have the criticism that I have for nearly every movie is I think it's a little too long. But
Blade Runner 2049 is 2 hours and 46 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It does not need to be that long.
I sort of applaud them for just going all the way, where it's like, we're going to make a really long movie.
Yeah. And there are some bits in it where you think, well, that doesn't need to be there, that doesn't need to be there, but at the same time, the cinematography in it, like the tracking shots, the setup shots, the establishing shots, that's the word I was looking for before. Establishing shot. They do such a fantastic job. It's kind of like Ready Player One with the whole stacks thing, like when they introduce you to the stacks. It's a good establishment of the type of world you're living in, and Blade Runner does that like 4 times in 4 different locations, and it's like, okay, these are great.
Nice. Oh, man. Alright, you ready to kick this thing off?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get pre-show out of here.
And hold on. I know Blade Runner is linked to the Alien universe, I just can't remember how. Because I know it's... Death brings it up in chat. There is a link to them. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Because I know they introduced the Yutani lady in AVP, which officially links the AVP universe with the Aliens universe and the Predator universe 100% canonically. Jeez. So, that's fun.
Ah, movies.
Yes, they're weird.
Alright, you ready? Clear the
My
old
apologies for outcast people. I ain't muting that one.
Yeah.
Yep, ready when you are.
Alright, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is an under-the-weather Moonpeer.
Hello.
I don't think we have any business stuff here at the beginning, and I really want to save Moonpeer's voice so we can at least get through this first segment.
I do have one minor piece of business stuff, which is, for obvious reasons, we didn't record ODNF this week. It's probably going to get pushed back to next week now.
Right.
Because you have two people with the flu under the same household, so...
Yeah, it would not be a great audio episode to listen to.
Yeah, we might as well just put gravel in a bin and shake it around a little bit and then
sneeze every once in a while.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's dive right into it with Moonpeer. What have you been playing this past week?
For obvious reasons, I didn't play a whole lot. There was a lot of recovery time, a lot of sleep. So much sleep, which makes a change for me.
Staring holes into a wall.
Yeah, to be honest, 100% yes. There was a little bit of Marvel Pulse Quest, but that was just pretty much because I didn't want to move from my sweat-encrusted bed.
Right.
Which is really gross imagery. I do apologize.
I won't write it down for a show title.
It's kind of a good one. Let's see. So I played a little bit of Monster Hunter World on Friday. They now have this Spring Festival is in full effect.
Yeah.
So they finally gave a purpose to the Gathering Hub, which is you can go up there and do like limited time events. And there's a giant Poogie made of flowers, and everyone is wearing special costumes.
That's pretty cool.
It's so dumb and kind of amazing at the same time.
I saw that pig made out of flowers, and I was like, alright, Monster Hunter World, you're still pretty good.
Yep, and apparently there's a whole bunch of like special limited time emotes that you can get and stuff, so
Ooh.
I didn't do enough reading to actually figure out how to get them yet, but I'm hoping I can hopefully grab them at some point this week. I did a little bit of hunting, not a whole lot, because, like I said, very limited time, but I did play with T-Bomb and I think it's Brain Eater, which I think is Rob. I don't know. I'm sorry, my brain is dead. But yeah, Monster Hunter World. Still, it's Monster Hunter. I'm still going to play it probably until this time next year.
Yeah, till the next one comes out.
I started our Game of the Game Club game.
Game of the month.
Yes, our Game of the month for the Game Club game, which is the Swapper.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to have a Metroid-style map for this puzzle platformer game.
Yeah, it's a pretty good map, too.
Yep. I think I'm up to about 9 or 10 orbs at the minute.
Okay.
I think
that's about where I am at.
I don't really want to talk too much about it. It has already done that thing, though, where it's like, I'm so stupid, why didn't I see this?
Yep.
This answer to this puzzle
So
immediately.
obvious.
And then there's a couple which have been obfuscated to all kinds of weird. So we'll see how it goes. I'm probably that's gonna be my. Hopefully, my brain is working enough to play the Swapper game today.
Yeah.
Kind of game. But no, I'm enjoying it. I do love the handmade aspect of it, which we'll probably go into more details in the actual Game Club episode.
Yeah.
But the fact that the spaceship at the start is made out of a tin can with straws stuck to it is kind of amazing.
I wrote that down in the show notes for the Game Club episode because I was like, wait, is that a tin can? And I wrote that down just to figure out if that was deliberate or not, and it very much is, because the rest of the game is fully claymation. And I was like, oh, yep. Gotcha.
It's really weird. Not a huge fan of the controls. I'm playing on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And this definitely seems like a PC game first and foremost.
Yeah, if you had a mouse, I'm sure it would be fine.
Oh, yeah, really, really easy to do, but it's a little bit cumbersome on the Xbox, but so far it hasn't needed to do any really finesse-based stuff. And it does do that really generous time slowdown when you do the aiming, which helps.
I've used that a lot.
Me too. Only 2 more games to talk about, really. One I can't really talk about, but I will anyway. I started Far Cry 5.
Oh.
Because my wife decided she wants to play Far Cry, so she bought Far Cry 5.
Nice.
So far, Far Cry 5 is another Far Cry game.
How long or how far are you into it? Like 2 or 3 hours?
I'm probably maybe about like 5 to 8.
Okay.
But when it comes to a Far Cry game, that's enough time to basically get your bearings.
It's about 2%.
Yes. It's probably my second favorite start to a Far Cry game. I still think 3 has the greatest start to a Far Cry game ever, because you get introduced to the D-Bag and his friends.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, you're introduced to Vaz, and Vaz is an incredible villain.
I love that reveal of, like, you and your friends having a great time, and then, like, when the camera pulls out and it's just on your phone and you're there trapped, and I was like, alright, that's pretty good.
Yep, that's a really good start. I think this one is right up there with it. Not as good, but it's a very good start to this game. It immediately ramps up the political and society kind of discussions right at the beginning of the game, because it leans very heavily into that gun culture, these are my rights, ain't nobody taking these things away from me, kind of thing. But it takes it to the extreme, to the point where it's like, should we be stopping this kind of thing or not? And it actually makes me laugh, because I wanted to do the test. So at the start of the game, I did nothing and got the secret ending.
Nice.
The thing I will say so far, there's things I like about this game and things I don't. I do like Joseph. He's the main guy. He's the leader of this church.
Oh, like the main villain?
Yeah, he is the Vas. He is the pagan min of this game.
Right.
I don't know how they did it, but he has got a stare that seems to stare through the camera, through the game, and into you.
Oh, wow.
It's a very creepy stare. It probably also helps he's got those, like, those yellow tinted sunglasses, and he's just, like, looking upwards at you through these yellow sunglasses.
Oh, right.
It's really, really creepy. He does a good job of coming across as that charismatic leader kind of thing at the start. But the problem I've run into is, as soon as you do that section, it's the same as all the other Far Cry games, where it's, there you go, now there's the world. Go in.
Here's the world, here's the map, let's get going.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do the terrible thing of they make you climb a telephone thing at the very start of the game. They're like, go climb up that, and then we can, get a wider reach on the radar. As you're climbing it, the guy says to you, don't think I'm going to make you do this around the whole area. And you only have to do it the once. You don't have to climb any more towers, but the fact that they reference their own tropes at the start of this game is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And that's where I sit with the game at the minute. Is it's Far Cry. Like, you know if you want it, you know if you don't. They've taken some interesting approaches. Like, the issue that everybody has with Vas is you see him once, then you see him again like 6 hours later, and then you see him the final time, and then that whole disappointing thing comes where he's not the main villain, it's actually somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, there's that whole thing. Well, the problem now is they've tried to do it with 4 people. So you've got Joseph and 3 leaders of these different sections of the valley that you're in, and they're trying to make it basically 4 people being the charismatic villains, who each have different specialties. There's John, whose specialty is conversion, shall we say. So basically mind control and breaking people down, and his whole thing is he's the evil Daniel Bryan. It was the easiest way to say this, because his whole mantra is about the power of saying yes. Except it's done in such a very creepy way that he's like the evil version. He's the heel Daniel Bryan, basically. He's all about saying yes, but it's not in a good way at all.
Right.
There is some guy up north, I don't know his name because I haven't been there yet. He is the one responsible for training the militia. And there's a girl in the east these are two brothers of Joseph, the leader, and some girl in the east who they don't know if she's a sister or just some lady, but she's all about the drugs.
Oh.
100% about the drugs. The drug which is called Bliss.
Okay.
So already we're getting into some weird supernatural hoobity-doobity kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not a bad fake drug name, though.
No, not in this context. It's actually really great in this context. It's especially funny when you like come into contact with anything that's made from this drug. You get like white sparkles on your screen, and everything goes like super washed out color wise, but not like gray, just super vivid. So it's this really weird counterpoint of like
super saturated.
Yeah, it's
that's cool.
Kind of incredible and interesting so far. But there's still a whole bunch of issues. So the thing they do to try to help you as you're going through these areas is to introduce you to the characters. At certain points after you've done a certain amount of damage to each area's regime, I think it is. I'm only focusing on one area right now. But after you hit these certain progress points, you will be marked.
Oh no.
And what that means is they send kidnap squads out to come and get you.
Oh no.
And then they kidnap you, and then you basically get a story sequence, which is you talking to someone. In my case, it's talking to John, who is the guy who says yes. It's like you have an interaction with that person, and then inevitably you escape. And you progress the story until the next time they decide they're going to kidnap you and come kidnap you. And it's a really interesting way to like have it forces you to interact with the people and get more development about the villains. But at the same time, it's like I am dismantling your empire section by section, and all you're doing is kidnapping me and trying to make me see the error of my ways.
Right. And then somehow letting me escape.
Yeah. In John's case, there is a really good example of that, because John, he's all about saying yes and exposing your sins. So his thing is he likes to figure out what your sin is, allow you to express that sin as much as you can, and then confess your sins, and then you'll be healed, basically.
Right.
He does that by stripping sections of your chest off.
Oh no.
After basically scarring the name of your sin into yourself.
Ooh.
Kind of gross. And there's a staple gun involved.
Oh, goodness.
This game is kind of dark, obviously. But the problem I have so far is it's an interesting approach. Like I said, I'll have more to say on this in future weeks as I actually complete the game. They've done so much fine-tuning to the Far Cry methodology. Like the crafting is gone. You can still hunt, but all that does is give you money. You can buy upgrades with perk points, but you get perk points by doing challenges. It becomes a checklist. It becomes, oh, I've killed 20 people with a pistol. I really like this pistol, but I'm going to switch to the SMG now so I can get more perks.
Right.
The game looks beautiful. The game runs fantastic. Like, obviously, I'm playing it on the X. It's probably one of the best looking games I've played in recent memory. But then they do these stupid stuff like the awareness of me being in the area has gone up, so they have planes circling the skies looking for me.
Oh.
I don't have any weapons that can take them down easily. And once they spot me, they call in reinforcements and they strafe the area that I'm in with bombs and machine guns.
Oh, jeez.
Which kill you like that.
Huh.
Like, you will die instantaneously. And don't get me wrong, your little friendly doggy can come and pick you up, which he is ridiculously cute. Or one of your other people can come and pick you up. But it's a nightmare when I'm in the middle of a side mission conversation with somebody, trying to progress this mission. And you're face to face, you're having a conversation, the plane flies past, shoots the area a little bit, then the conversation gets broken. You've got to wait for them to come out of combat status so you can talk to them again. And then they'll do the whole GTA thing of, oh, what was I saying? Oh,
right.
Yeah. And then continue the conversation.
Where did I leave off?
you get 2 more lines in, and then the plane flies by again and strafes the area, and then the conversation is broken up, and then you've got to wait for them to come out of it. Do you see what the problem might be here?
Yeah.
There are so many little, like, there's little things that are getting to me, and they're adding up more and more. But it's still a great game. It's still a Far Cry game. There has been, they do their wonderful thing with music still. This is the reason I asked. What was the gentleman who sung that song?
Marvin Gaye.
Yes, they use Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing song to an incredible moment that is just hilarious and dumb and stupid.
Nice.
And so perfect at the same time. And the other time that it kind of had me grinning like an idiot was when it used the song Barracuda.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got into a vehicle. I'm not going to say any more. As soon as I turned the vehicle on, I heard the music start, and I turned to my wife and said, "Is that Barracuda?" Her response was, "Yes, that's Barracuda," and it works so perfectly for that sequence that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they continue with that, because Saints Row was the epitome of use the right music for the right moment,
right.
And it creates memories that last forever. So if they can keep doing that, great, but I don't know, we'll see. I don't know if I'm burnt out on Far Cry yet. I'm enjoying playing it, but it's one of these things of, am I enjoying playing it too close to recently playing Far Cry 4?
Or even just AC Origins.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you play Primal?
I did not. Primal? We own Primal, but I have not played it.
I never played it because it came out like right as soon as I finished 4. I said, I'm not gonna go back into this. I just played that.
Yep, it doesn't help that is essentially, I believe as well, that is pretty much a map. One of the sections from 4 is that map.
That's what I saw, yeah.
Probably doesn't help with that either, but I will have more input on Far Cry 5 as time goes on, and hopefully sitting down to play it. It's as far as I can tell at this point, it seems to be, if you are in for more Far Cry, it's right up your alley.
Yeah.
If you're not, then avoid it for a little bit, see how things go.
Wait for a sale, wait for some DLC.
Yes, exactly. The final thing I played this week was A Way Out. My wife and I finally sat down and in one more sitting beat the game.
Okay.
Granted, it was like a 7-hour sitting, but we beat the game. If you play this with somebody who is competitive, be prepared.
Oh no.
Because throughout the entirety of the game, I think last time I talked about it, we were in the process of escaping the prison.
Mm-hmm.
As you're going through the game, there are moments that occur time and time again where it's a friendly competition.
Oh, okay.
For anyone who knows my wife, there's no such thing as friendly and competition in the same sentence.
No, there's only competition.
Exactly. So there's dartboards. You go into this place, there's a dartboard. Okay, let's throw 3 darts each and see who gets the best score.
Oh, no.
Oh, look, these 2 people are playing baseball. Let's just have a little experimentation here. Can we go and play?
4 hours later.
Yes, one person can pitch and one person can bat. And you play baseball, and it measures the distance of your home runs. I can't talk about the last third of this game at all.
Yeah.
Because this game is 100% a narrative-focused game. Talking over with my wife, I was trying to figure out how best to describe it for the show. And the way I came up with was, it's a co-op Telltale game if the engine was good.
Okay.
Which, if you're into adventure games, it's probably right up your alley. If you're into co-op games, it might be there with you. Be prepared for some absolutely horrendous acting.
That's what I've heard.
I think I mentioned it on the first time I talked about it, but some people in this do not act well in the slightest.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad, but that's fine. I just view it as like a cheesy movie.
Yeah.
I believe it's set in the 70s, so it's got that kind of art style, those kind of cars. It's actually really fun. Like, I genuinely enjoyed this game a lot. it seems to rely heavily on tropes, like the tropes of the genre, the tropes of the escape movie, the tropes of the buddy. Well, I was about to say buddy cop, but the buddy prisoner kind of movie. It seems to rely on those tropes a little bit too much.
Right.
So go into it with an open mind. Play it if you want to play it with somebody who hopefully is not competitive, because you don't want someone shouting at you, I win at life." Which was actually said.
Direct quote.
Yeah, it's a direct quote. "I win at life."
Oh man.
But I enjoyed it. And you know what? The art style of the game, like there's a couple of sequences in the game which are really cinematography like done. I apologize for my phrasing. My brain is not working.
Yeah.
But it's shot really well. It's the camera moves nicely. It tells a really good story throughout just the way the game operates with the whole split screen nature. And then there's sections where you get a third thing coming in, which is you've both got to be aware of this third thing. So.
Oh, cool.
It's really well done, and you know what? I'm glad I paid the full price for it on day one. I'm glad, because I want to support more games like this.
Yeah.
For a brand new IP, a brand new launch of a very interesting style and a take on video games, like I'll support this type of thing every single time I can, because if it gets more games like this, and if it gets a way out too, where they can refine things, where they can maybe get a better actor in or two.
Yeah, a little bit more budget.
Exactly. So, and not to mention the fact that they do the whole thing with this game where I'm pretty sure you can send basically a token to somebody and play it with them if they don't own the game and only have the demo version.
Yeah, I saw that, like, if someone downloads the demo and at least one of you has the full version, you can just play the whole game, which is great.
So, give it a shot. You'll know if there's somebody you want to play it with. I know you're interested in playing with your wife, I believe.
Yep.
So, give it a shot. Definitely well worth it. But that's all I have had time to play this week because.
I actually finished a bunch of stuff this week, which is weird.
Yeah, I saw a couple of platinum tweets going on.
Yeah, a couple of
platinum.
A couple of platinums got knocked out. I did platinum Ni no Kuni 2, but I only needed like literally 3 more hours to knock that out, so that's not even on the list here. I finished Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and I give the Lego games, I feel like I give them a lot of leeway. They're often not great, and you know, they a lot of them are kid focused, which is sort of a positive or a negative.
Yep. I
have to say Marvel Superheroes 2 is probably the worst of all of them that I've played.
Oh wow.
It's just such an uneven experience that, like, some levels are going to take you 20 minutes to get through, some levels are going to take you 55 minutes to go through, and you have sequence after sequence. It's uneven. It is, a lot of the boss battles are genuinely pretty boring. Or like you're doing so much damage to them that, you know, they drop their shield, you hit them once and their shield's back up again, and you have to do this whole sequence over again.
Yep.
I didn't really like, they do this 2 times in the game, and I didn't really like it where they give you the option of picking one of like 5 or 6 teams. There's 20 levels in the game, which is ridiculously high. It'll say like, oh, here's Captain America's team, here's Miss Marvel's team, and so on and so forth. And it gives you the illusion of choice where you get to pick one of those teams to go do the mission, but you have to pick all of them at some point and do all of their missions. So it's not like you get to do this level with this team and see how that works out. You're just picking that team and then you do their levels.
Yeah.
But what I did like is there were a couple of levels, especially there was this one level where you're going through the pyramids, and you have 2 teams on the opposite ends of the level, and one team will progress a little bit and run into a roadblock. The other team will progress a little bit and run into a roadblock, but they lifted the other person's, and you're sort of switching between the two teams.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot. I sort of wish they did it more. But I think, for me, the most damning thing I can say about Marvel Superheroes is I finished it, and I'm not going to do 100%.
Oh, wow.
And I did a couple of events after I completed the game, but none of them are super interesting because there's just so much land. There's so much game there that when you look at it, it genuinely looks like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where you open up the map and there's just hundreds of icons. Some of them are locked off for reasons I don't understand, because it just shows an activity with a lock on it and says activity locked. Do I need another character? Like, do I need to finish another one before I do? And when I finished the game, I got, True Believer, and I got a lot of Stan Lee on a lot of the levels, and I was only like 23% of the way through. I was like, I can't do this. I would rather do what I did to the rest of the list, which is I'm going to play 5 other games instead of punishing myself with this game.
Give it like another couple of years, and then you can plop the little one down in front of it and say, bang your head against that until you get the 100%, please.
Yeah, exactly. Go get me the platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really don't think I would recommend that. I would still recommend the first game is really good. The Lego Marvel Superheroes that came out, a couple of years ago. I feel like that one has a much better story, much better boss battles and levels, and wandering around Manhattan and like a couple of other smaller places was just enough content that by the time you were sort of getting sick of it, you were at 100%.
Yeah, I enjoyed Lego Marvel Avengers as well, which is the last one I think that was cross-platform.
Okay.
That was the one that was like really late 360, really early Xbox One.
I think I played that one. I'll have to check that one out because it's probably pretty cheap at this point. So
yeah, that one's got like one of my favorite achievements / trophies in it, which is Do I Know You, and you get that by teaming up as the Human Torch and Captain America.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
My next game, I played Minit, the brand new Devolver published
game. I saw this.
The developers are calling it a 1-bit game. It has I really like the art style. I know it's divisive, but it is purely just black and white, which makes for a lot of really cool design decisions. But the whole thing about Minit is, at the beginning of the game, you pick up a cursed sword, and at that point, every life is only 60 seconds. And I know a lot of people hear that, and they go, yeah, no, that's not for me. But I think they designed it so intelligently that within every life, you manage to make some progress. At the very least, you have found where you need to go, or you have picked up some new item, or you've talked to somebody that has given you an errand to do.
Yeah.
And you're always, every 60 seconds, you're always making some sort of progress, which I think in lesser developers' hands could have probably been really disappointing, where it's like, I just wasted 60 seconds and I literally did nothing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that they did really smartly was every time you respawn at your home, but as you explore the map, it's very much like Legend of Zelda style. As you explore the map, you find additional homes. So, you sort of snake your way towards the desert area. You find a desert camper. You walk into there. That's your new home. So at that point, now you have a different 60-second radius around that you can explore.
Yeah.
It's not a super long game. I think I finished my first run through in about 90 minutes. But that wasn't a 100% run. I think my 100% run took probably about 3 hours just to get everything. And sort of a little bit of spoilers here. I've completed everything in the game because I really dug it, and it really clicked with me this week. I did complete a second run, as they call it, where you can't pick up any hearts and you only have 1 heart, and you only have 40 seconds per life. And on top of that, they remix where enemies and items are. So
wow.
You sort of have to play the game completely out of order to then sort of wrap back around and do some of the stuff that you would normally do at the beginning. And I thought that was cool, because it would have been fine if they would have said, well, it's just 40 seconds and you can only take 1 hit. But to move even important items around was really, really great. What did I do? And the last one I did, I completed the game in under 25 lives. Which we were talking about Shadow Complex lately, which is, very much that
the 18% run or whatever it is.
Yeah, or whatever it was. It felt very much like that, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep trying to play this to get my line really clear, and okay, I don't even need to go over to this part of the map. I don't need anything there, sort of. And I think I did it in 18 lives.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I made a couple of mistakes here or there, but Minit is really great. It's only $10. It's on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Yeah. And for anyone who's curious, the spelling of that is M-I-N-I-T, not like the word minute.
I thought I spelled it out, but yeah, I really liked that. I feel like it's a game that's very much up my alley. That it's a little bit experimental and a little bit weird, but they do such a great job designing it really, really well, so it's not at all frustrating.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge bonus. So go check out Minit. It's cheap, and it's made by like a handful of people. So Devolver Digital continues to be an indie publishing house that picks the right projects and just fosters them.
Yeah.
They put out Enter the Gungeon, and they put out a whole bunch of really great stuff that they seem to make the right choices on.
They are what Steam Greenlight should have been. Yeah,
and maybe some other publishing houses for indie games. Wink. Next game, Azure Saga Pathfinder. Want to give a shout out to
I don't even know what this is.
The publisher for providing me for a key with this. The press release mentioned it was a hand-drawn turn-based RPG, and I was like, all right, that all sounds like stuff that is in my wheelhouse very much.
100% a Boston game.
Yeah, it is incredible looking. I think if this game is probably going to be remembered for anything, it's so good looking that it really is hand drawn for a lot of the character interaction stuff. Even when you get in the dungeon and the characters sort of shrink down a little bit, that stuff looks really good too. I'm fairly sure that this is the studio's first game that they're making, but at the very least, whoever is doing the art for your games, just keep them around. Pay whatever you need to pay them, because it looks really, really great. I think it's interesting because it's a fairly straightforward turn-based RPG. It's, people lined up on the left, your party's lined up on the right, attack, attack, attack. They tried to go with a little bit of light strategy where you can pick skills that have the same color as other skills that your members use. So, like, their early example they give you is all 3 of your party members pick red skills. They combine their attacks, and all of your party members attack at the same time, and they do like triple damage.
Interesting.
So that's kind of cool, and I can tell that, you know, there are a bunch of green skills and blue skills, so you can sort of start doing some of that stuff in the future. I didn't get that deep into it to really see what some of that stuff has to offer. I think the biggest problem with this game, hands down, is I think it's a translation. If not, then it's just the game's raw text is bad. It is grammatically bad to the point where it's often confusing.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort of pick up what people are talking about, but there are times where people are going to say a sentence and it's like, okay, I sort of get what you're getting at, but I think we're talking about something different than we were just talking about in the last sentence.
Yeah.
It seems to be a thing that a lot of people in the community have criticized the game for. If the developers would like to hire me, I will rewrite the game. I will fix it for you. Just contact me. I'd be more than happy to. Because I think the rest of the game there is pretty good. I think it's only $13. I think it's like 20 hours. It seems like it might be a good, you know, I'm always on the lookout for starter RPGs, which is,
yeah,
hey, I want to play an RPG, but I don't want to dive into Final Fantasy 15 and play that for 80 hours. What can I play for, you know, 10 to 20, and it doesn't assume I've been playing a bunch of stuff before? I think Azure, Saga, Pathfinder has the potential of being a really good starter RPG. You know, we were talking about that with Ni no Kuni 2 last week.
Yeah.
But the grammatical and the spelling and the translation errors are so egregious that it really just drags the whole thing down.
Yeah.
I hope
that's
they
a
fix
shame.
it.
I hope so.
Yeah, because I think it could be something pretty cool, especially for only $13. I think that's a right price for sort of a starter RPG. But they'll hopefully get that resolved. After I was done with Ni no Kuni 2 and Lego Marvel Superheroes, I thought, what in my pile should I pop back in? And I finished another game, but I'm going to save that to the end because that has a little bit of spoilers in it. So I popped in Horizon Zero Dawn again.
Yeah, I saw the screenshots.
Yeah, man, that's such a good-looking game. Now that PS4 Pro has super sampling, it looks a little bit better on my 1080p TV. I think because I struggled, I haven't played this game for a number of months. I struggled between, should I just start a new game back over and go through the tutorial? Because there's some specific stuff in this game, you know, about laying down traps and you know, hunting down these robot horses and all these other monsters you're fighting. But I thought, you know what, I'm not going to, because I didn't enjoy my time with the tutorial, and it was very long. And I wasn't even done with it by the time that I finished, by the time I fired up this game. So I spent about the next 2 hours finishing up the tutorial. And surprisingly dove right into it. And it finally clicked with me. I'm sort of finally getting it. I'm having some troubles with the controls, but I think that's mostly because I switched the controls in Assassin's Creed Origins, and this really wants you to play it like the default control scheme for Assassin's Creed Origins.
Okay.
Which isn't a knock against the game. It's just sort of like, okay, if I want to attack an enemy that's rushing at me, I can't hit square because that just ducks me down. I need to hit R1 so I can do my spear hit.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get it. But
the Dark Souls control scheme, which seems to have overtaken everything.
Yeah, and I sort of don't inherently have a problem with it, but I'm just so used to, you know, attacking being light attack is square, heavy attack is triangle.
Yep. Unless there is like, as far as I'm concerned, unless there is a digital input on attacking, like if you want to stick your attack buttons on the bumpers and the triggers, that's fine, provided I can do a half swing and then stop and then bring it back.
Right.
If it's just a digital, or if it's just an analog yes no, it should be on the face buttons.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they'd change that.
The only reason why I think they did it for Horizon was your collect things in the world and like collect and loot enemies button is triangle, and you use that a lot because you're always crafting stuff sort of on the fly.
Yeah.
And I do like having the let's duck down and hide button being on square, because that does mean I can do it at the drop of a hat as opposed to having to hit anything else. So like I sort of get it, and it's certainly not a criticism against the game. It's more like I have to rewire my brain to play Horizon because the control scheme is different. I don't know if you can change it, but I sort of don't want to.
If you change it now, you'll do what I did in Origins and then spend the next 6 hours playing it the old way.
Yeah, playing it like half one way and half the other. Plus, if a lot of these open world games are going to use the same control scheme, at some point I'm gonna have to use it. That way I don't have to, remap my controls as soon as I start playing. So it's fine. I'm getting through just fine. Ashley Birch is great as the main character Aloy.
Yeah, that's what I had.
She has like this grumbliness to her, where she's sort of like, yeah, fine, all right, and like muttering under her breath a little bit, which I think is really great. And she plays Aloy really well when she's being cocky, which is there was this one mission that I just undertook. I think I've only played it about 5 hours this week, maybe. So I'm still very much like in the I'm going to give you a mission and you're going to go do this new event type sort of phase, where I got this one woman said, oh, well, they're not going to open up the gate to the next area until you clean out 2 corrupted machine camps. I'm like, okay. And Aloy says, well, okay, I'll just go do that myself. I'll just go take care of it. And they said, okay, well, I can't give you any helpers to help you. We don't have any staff to do that. And Aloy's like, well, that's fine. Like, I can just handle it myself. And I kind of like that Ashley Birch is playing sort of a cockier person like that. Her voice acting in this game is really, really fantastic. Some of the facial animation stuff is a little weird for everybody that isn't Aloy.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this at the time when it came out. Like, she was fantastic, and like 2 or 3 other people have got really incredible animation.
Yep.
But there's a whole bunch of people in there that have weird ones. And
it's like, I sort of understand what they went for. Like, it seems very much like I think this is a proprietary engine that they made this on. And I could tell they did a really great job at procedurally doing facial animation, because it's not just for their mouth, it's also for like their nose and their cheeks and like the whole bottom half of the face.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like, you could tell they crafted Aloy's stuff and then everybody else's is sort of generated. And it's not bad, it's just sort of a little odd. I'm curious to see what the next version of the Horizon engine would look like, because I feel like they would nail it the next time.
Yeah.
Oh, I did my first, what do they call it? Like flat striders or something? Basically,
are you talking about the robots with the giant flat heads that you go and climb on the top of them?
Yeah, and that's
the Assassin's Creed towers.
Yeah, it's the Assassin's Creed towers. That was pretty fun. It sounds really weird. I really like towers in open world games. I couldn't tell you why. Probably part of it has to do with Assassin's Creed always doing that, like spinning around and looking at the city animation, which is still really cool.
Yep.
I really liked climbing on a tower that was moving, and I know that sounds stupid and it's like a really minor thing, but seeing the city and enemies passing you by as you're scaling the neck of this thing, and then shoving your spear in the top of it to take it over, and it does this giant pulse out of it to unveil the map, and just kind of chilling on top of it while it's walking around the city was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome. The only other thing I can think of like that's kind of as cool is the Mad Max version, where you have to get into like a little hot air balloon. You have to throttle it all the way up till you're at the very top of the hot air balloon like height, and then you have to use an actual telescope to look around and spot things that like that flash in the desert, and then it marks that on your map.
What other game did that recently? Oh, I think it was
Twilight Princess.
Shadow of War.
Oh, I'm not sure about Shadow of War. No, not Twilight Princess either. The other one.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. That one has
that did a
thing
little bit of
where
that too, yeah.
It didn't mark it for you, but you could look around.
Yeah. What else do I have here in my notes? Oh, I really like... There's a lot of small design decisions in this game that I feel like are some of those subliminal design decisions that maybe you sort of innately understand, but the majority of the enemies, at the very least in the beginning of the game, have these really blue lenses that have a blue light coming out of them on their face. The monsters, not the humans. I'm surprised there are humans you fight in this game, but I guess that sort of would naturally happen. What's really great is you can tell where an enemy is, whether it's day or night, just by that. Nothing else in the world is that color of blue. So when you're sort of on top of a hill and you're looking around, it's like, okay, that's very clearly a monster camp over there, because there are 7 blue lights. I'm not nearly equipped enough. I'll scan them and see what they are. All right, I'm not nearly equipped enough to go over there and handle that, so I'm going to manage to find my way around that. And a little thing they do too is when you get closer to them, they have like a lens flare that stretches across the screen. When you move your camera away from the lens of the enemy, that stays on screen for a minute or so. But it's sort of...
it's a retina burn-in kind of thing.
Yeah, but it sort of stays off to the side where the enemy is. So it's almost like your radar. You know, if you were playing like Metal Gear Solid, you'd still have the radar that you could see.
Yeah.
And it only lasts for like a minute or a second or two. But it's one of those things was like, okay, I know they're still over there because I still have this like after effect on the screen. It's really well designed and it's really fun. I cleared out my first cauldron, which is basically like, as I guess probably not a spoiler anymore, but it's basically like the first enemy factory, like a machine factory. And by the time I cleared that out, I now know how to override and overtake like 5 more types of enemies. Some of them you can mount and ride, which is pretty great, and some of them you just overtake and they start fighting the other people around you.
It just made me think of Syndicate, like hacking people's chips and making them attack people.
Yeah, sort of like that, yeah. Where you just sort of like stick your spear up in them, it does some digital stuff, and then they start turning on their counterparts. So far I'm really enjoying it. It's really well made. The bow and arrow stuff is a lot of fun. I haven't done too much of the trap stuff yet, mostly because I'm playing it kind of as a stealth primary game. Yeah. Yeah, mostly because I'm me. But I think that's probably going to go away pretty quickly as soon as I start dealing with more monsters that can't be one-shot killed from in stealth.
Yeah.
But I'm having a really great time with it, and I'm glad it finally clicked, because that's the game. People always say, oh, if you have a PS4, you have to play Horizon Zero Dawn because of these 50 reasons that I love the game. Same for me with Xbox One and Gears 4, where it's like, look, if you have an Xbox One, you need to play Gears 4. Even if you don't like it, you need to at least give it a shot, because it's one of the platform exclusives that you really need to play. So far 2 thumbs up. I like it. I played more Golf Story.
How did that go?
I don't know what happened this week with Golf Story, but it also clicked with me. I'm already sort of... It's not bad, but I'm already sort of feeling some of the fatigue of playing the golf in it. And I think this game is really weirdly designed, because it is a really good 3-click golf game. And it's a really interesting RPG where the leveling up is interesting, and the story part is getting pretty interesting, where you're sort of trying to rebuild the first golf course that you've ever played on with your dad, and it has fallen into disrepair, and this really shady dude has taken it over, and he just wants to make money instead of have a good golf course. That stuff is interesting, but I feel like the balance between the two things, the story and the golfing, are kind of out of whack. There's a lot of story in the game, and when you take a break from the story stuff, it's often, alright, to do this thing on this golf course, I need you to help these 5 people. And those 5 people will have you do challenges, basically. And one will be like, oh, you need to hit the ball, get 20 points by hitting the ball over on this island. I'm currently on the 3rd golf course, which is Cheeky Beak Peak, which... That's
a great name.
I know. The first golf course is just a standard course. That's fine. The second one was really interesting. It was like this caveman area, and each one of the holes was dinosaur footprints. So like
kind of cool.
The bunker would be one large one with 4 little bunkers next to it, and so would the green. So it was kind of neat. Cheeky Beak Peak is the one where it's primarily islands that are floating in the sky, and the wind is really, really strong. Up until that point, you're dealing with maybe like 3 to 5 mile an hour winds. This one is like 30 to 45 mile an hour winds. So it's focusing a lot more on control and sort of curving your shots and club selection and all that stuff. So, like I said, it's a really good golf game. But every time you go to a new course, there's a bunch of challenges and a bunch of quests for you to do that are all good. But one of my biggest problems with the game so far has been, let's say you have a challenge and you have to land it on the green 6 times. And you get 15 shots to do that. If you nail it before those 15 shots are over, the game still wants you to keep practicing and shoot all 15 of those shots. If I complete those in the first 6, because like I have figured out how to play this course, I don't want to shoot the other 9. So I almost feel a little bit punished for doing well. So a lot of times once I meet the goal, I'm just mashing A to shoot a shot like 1 yard in front of me, just to exhaust the rest of the shots.
Yeah, just to kind of get through it.
Yeah, so that's sort of been a bummer. I kind of like that you can play like a full 9-hole course on any of these courses at any time. It's a little weird that you do all of these challenges, and sometimes, like at this last course, whose name I won't say again, I did like 5 challenges, just like side quests going up to the main person. She had me do 5 to 7 herself, and then at the end, I had to golf the whole 9 holes to then go back to my other golf course and like report what I had learned. So it's sort of like I get it. I get all the stuff you're teaching me. It just, there's a lot there, and it's $15, so like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. But
yeah,
there's a lot there, and the balance between the two is a little bit off kilter. That being said, still surprised it's not on anything other than Switch.
Yeah, that I don't understand. Well,
because Moonpeer recently was nice enough to gift me a Pro controller, and I've been playing it on that, and it works really great. There's no touchscreen or anything. I know it's a small studio. I think it's only one person, now that I think about it. But I'd like it to come to more platforms just so more people could play a good golf game that's also an RPG, because we don't have any of those.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh god, another golf RPG. Come on, man. But yeah, it's still so far so good, but I'm pretty deep in Horizon Zero Dawn now, so this might be my between other games game, so I can sort of not be sick of the golfing and then play it for a little bit and then be like, oh yeah, golf. But last but not least, I finished Telltale Batman Season 2. Episode 5 came out like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. And number one, I'd like to see Sony specifically as a platform maker, because I think Microsoft does this a little bit already. If I have a new piece of downloadable content for an episodic game that I'm playing, please pop up something in the dashboard, because I had to find it out from someone else on Twitter that said, hey, I just finished episode 5, it was really good. And I was like, I didn't even know it was out. Didn't even know it was out. Like I have the game installed, and there was no patch associated with the new episode coming out, so I didn't know. I'd like to see that improved, because I would have played it much sooner had I known it actually came out. I bought the season pass too, so that would be a little bit better. I'm gonna really try to avoid spoilers here, since it is the 10th episode in a series. But one of the big things that they were promoting before this was the 2 Jokers. Depending on your choices during primarily this season, but also a little bit in the first season, depends on which version of the Joker you're going to get. Vigilante, where it's like this crime-fighting hero wannabe, or Villain, which is the standard Joker that you were seeing. They released 2 really good trailers about it, which it seems like, depending on the Joker you get, the pathways for the story would diverge pretty seriously, which is nice to see. I don't know if it does it in actual practice, but it's nice to see them making some sort of large change depending on your choices.
Yeah, it makes it's a good shift away from the diamond formation for the storytelling. Exactly.
So because of my choices, I got Vigilante Joker, which was the least surprising surprise ever, because I have, throughout both seasons, I have tried to befriend John Doe and maybe try and take that little bit of nugget of goodness in him and sort of turn it around and have him be a force for good.
Yeah.
I think this episode probably features some of my favorite cinematic shots and writing between Batman and the Joker. There's a lot of stuff where Batman is talking to someone, and it's like Batman here is in the frame, and someone else is down here in the frame, and Joker will come and pop out of the corner and say something dumb, and then just like scoot back off screen. Like someone said something real dumb to Joker at one point. He just comes out. Joker comes out of the side of the screen, just goes, and then just wanders back off. Like,
oh jeez,
it's some of that stuff where it's like, that's the good fun stuff you want to have on some of this Batman stuff, especially if Batman and Joker are going to team up. You want Batman to be a straight guy, and you want Joker to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I was pretty surprised at how sad this whole episode went. And I don't read Batman comics. I liked them when I was a kid. this isn't any like, oh, screw DC, or like Batman's boring, whatever. I don't have a lot of time to read a lot of comics. I like how, you know, you played season 1, right?
Nope.
Okay.
I own season 1, I've just never played it.
So I like part of how they took season 1 and started talking about the Wayne legacy, where it's like, what if they weren't good? Like, what if they weren't the Waynes that you necessarily think of? And I like that I feel like this might be a well-worn path for Batman, if you read the comics or you watch a lot of movies or a lot of that stuff, that, you know, some of what season 2 addresses, and this isn't really a spoiler, is, you know, what if Batman isn't really the good guy? Like, what if he's just a fraction different than the bad guys, and that's what makes him think he's better than them?
Yeah.
And I like how season 2 addressed that question. And like I said, it's probably a well-worn path in the comics, where it's
mentioned in the Nolan movies as well, in the Joker, in Dark Knight. He talks about the Joker putting on a mask and then blowing everything up, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Alfred and Bruce have the discussion of, he exists because you exist. You put on a mask and started terrorizing these people. What did you expect them to do in response to that?
Right. So yeah, it sounds like first off, I should go watch that movie again, because it's great and I haven't seen it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like they're sort of walking that path again. But when Telltale does a really great game, they manage to address that stuff really well, and I like that they have so much stuff from season 1 and season 2 that wraps up by the end of season 2. They did that whole summary at the end of the season where it's like, here's your relationships with everybody. Because one of the things that they do in this game is, you know, the game will tell you when your relationship with someone has changed. So it's like, sometimes it's good where it's like, all right, I think I got him on my side. Like, I said the right thing. And sometimes it's like, yeah, well, there was no way out of pissing you off, and I think I really pissed you off this time.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it by the end. I think a lot of my criticisms of season 2 were, here are a bunch of new villains. All right, see you guys later. They resolved that stuff in a really interesting way that I think sets them up for a really good season 3, which, shockingly, I would really like them to do.
Walking Dead season 4 just got announced, didn't it?
Yeah, the final season, which thankfully they're calling it the final season.
Please.
But I think I'd like to see where they continue to go with how this Batman story that they're telling, because I think it's really well done. I think it's really interesting. I think the John Doe Joker stuff has been really good. I've really liked Harley Quinn's the type of character she has been in contrast to how she's usually shown. I had a really great time, which is, I was surprised by that in season 1. I was surprised by that in season 2, and I'd like to see them keep making solid Telltale games like this.
They continue to surprise when they shouldn't.
Yeah, especially, you know, like when they announced this, I think on this show we were sort of like, okay, Batman, sure, like, yeah, let's see how this turns out. Both seasons have been really good, and they make some. At the end of season 2, they make some really, really large choices and changes, and I would like to see how that plays out in season 3. Especially because whoever voices Batman and Joker are both really, really good, especially the guy that voices Joker. I wonder if it's Troy Baker again. I'll have to look it up.
It's either going to be him or Mark Hamill, and you know it is.
Yeah, I know it's definitely not Mark Hamill, so it's probably Troy Baker. But yeah, that was really good. That's all I've been playing. Moonpier looks like he's tired, so I'm actually going to end the episode here. Because I feel like we've talked enough about stuff, and none of our news stories are really that interesting. So we'll save your questions for next week. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. All the links are on the right-hand side of the page, including the link to the Discord server. Come hang out. We're always chatting, seemingly 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Don't forget our game club game this month is the Swapper. Seems pretty short, so you still have plenty of time to knock that out in the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping, at least for myself. Watch us YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, Smashcast, all those places. Go subscribe there so they will let you know when we go live. Patreon.com/E1M1. Listen to Old Dog New Flicks. Episode 2 is going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. You can get early access to episode 1 now. Just put up episode 2 of season 2 of Dynamic Soundtrack. For those of you that have been waiting, it is relaxing with Dynamic Soundtrack.
I know what I'm listening to tonight.
Both of those are at the $5 level. If you're looking to become a patron, the $5 level is really going to be the sweet spot. You get, I think, at least 1 episode early access a week, and then 2 other episodes per month. So for $5, that's pretty good. And you get to hang out with me every Sunday night and while I edit. So patreon.com/E1M1. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
I only have 3 titles.
I have 3 as well.
All right, hit me.
I only needed like 3 more hours. Hunting down robot horses.
Oh, yeah.
And it does some digital stuff.
All right, hunting down digital horses.
Robot horses.
Oh, sorry, robot horses. Got the 2 confused. And it did some digital stuff. Digital stuff. I have gravel in a bin. I don't know. And the one that gets my vote, the evil Daniel Bryant.
Yep, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's watch our SEO go through the roof.
Exactly. It's Bryant, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. That's how much wrestling I know. Daniel Bryant says yes. And he points with his finger and goes, yes, yes, yes.
Death in chat says pig made of flowers.
Oh, yeah, pig made of flowers is good, too. Damn. Yeah. Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 546 for April 9th, 2018. The evil Daniel Bryant.
Yep.
Alright, thank you so much, everyone, for watching live. Sorry for a shorter episode this week, but hey, man, we get sick every once in a while.
My favorite thing is, by the way, that is a pro wrestling reference that you would not get, is what I've just done.
Yeah. Someone will, and that will tickle them greatly. Alright, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.